First up, over at Fox News, they really outdid themselves this morning. They were upset at a New York Times article titled, "Fox News Finds Its Rivals Closing In," which we are. So rather than address the substance, they targeted New York Times editor Stephen Redcliffe and reporter Jacques Steinberg. But look carefully at the pictures they use.
His boss, the guy who assigned him to this, is a fellow by the name of Stephen Redcliffe. And Mr. Redcliffe actually used to work for this company. He sends his attack dog, Jacques Steinberg, out, that fellow right there, the writer for the New York Times, to do these hit pieces.
Hit piece? How about the fact that they altered the photos? Compare the actual picture of editor Stephen Redcliffe to the one they used. They yellowed his teeth, blackened his eyes, receded his hairline, and here's reporter Jacques Steinberg and what Fox used. They gave him a bigger nose and, again, blackened his eyes and yellowed his teeth. They report. You decide.
Okay, but can you tell me one person on Fox News, just one, was told this audience that they'll go to jail if they don't buy health insurance? You don't know anybody on Fox News, because there hasn't been anyone, that said people will go to jail if they don't buy mandatory insurance.
Play by their new rules on health care. Ooh, here's a new little twist. Have you heard this? You're going to be looking at a fun little stint in jail. But if you don't play ball with them now, if you don't get into their government health care, there will be jail time.
I don't have universal health care.
Now let's get, well, you will soon.
Or I'll go to jail.
Yeah, are you going to be a conscientious objector to health care?
You know, this is the first time in history in our country where just to be a citizen, just to not go to jail,
right,
you have to buy something.
I think you should go to prison for this cause.
Really?
I do.
Yeah.
All right,
that'd be fun.
I'll help you.
It's the first time in history in our country where just to be a citizen, just to not go to jail.
Right.
Dateline Washington, #2 best flip-flop, Senator Lamar Alexander of Tennessee, quoting, "These czars are an affront to the Constitution. They're anti-democratic. They're a poor way to manage the government, and they seem to me to be the principal symptom of this administration's 8-month record of too many Washington takeovers." 2003, Senator Alexander spoke on the floor of the Senate advocating that President Bush appoint a sort of manufacturing jobs czar and later appoint a new AIDS czar. The Bush administration, to which Mr. Alexander was slavishly loyal, had 15 or 16 czars. That statistic is according to Fox News. Dateline New York, #1 best gullible news actress. Speaking of which, Gretchen Carlson of Fox News, trying to sell more conspiracy nonsense, she showed a clip in which an Acorn employee in San Bernardino, California, claimed she had killed her ex-husband. An actor trying to trap her into something says, "You killed him emotionally?" And she answers, "No, I shot him." And the ex-beauty pageant contestant says, seriously, she killed somebody? Despite this, some lawmakers want to keep funding the group. She had previously noted, according to Acorn, he's still alive. Yeah, also according to the San Bernardino Police Department. Police point out that the woman says the actors trying to entrap her were so bad at it, she started playing them. They also say they investigated and found that her former husbands were all alive and well. But Gretchen, why listen to the police when you can listen instead to the all-knowing voices inside your head?
Ooh, my head.
Time for What Do I Need to Know for next week, Jonathan Hoenig.
Well, Cheryl, we've seen those just unbelievably tragic and horrible riots in Greece, people rioting because they're not getting their entitlements.
In Kolonaki Square, a posh section of the city, well-heeled Athenians dine in fine restaurants as taxi driver Panos Kanaloupithis waits for a fare. He says the austerity measures are hypocritical. Tax evasion and petty bribery in his country are widespread. Why doesn't the government go after the rich, he asks, for not paying their fair share of taxes? They don't prosecute anyone, he says.
Well, here in the United States, we're growing the entitlement state at an unbelievably rapid rate, at a record rate. %36% of taxpayers in 2008 paid no taxes whatsoever. The president's policies, in my opinion, are going to further that trend of more and more people getting entitlements from the government but not paying 1 cent in.
Gosh.
Many financial analysts are saying that if mortgage giants Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac had been properly regulated in the first place, the financial mess would either never had happened or wouldn't have been as severe. Chief White House correspondent Bret Baier examines those warning signs and who disputed them.
The Bush administration raised red flags starting in April 2001. The 2002 budget request declares that the size of mortgage giants Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac is, quote, a potential problem.
It was his first formal news conference since April, and President Bush laced it with words of reassurance. He said despite a deepening housing slump, troubled mortgage giants Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are not going under. And despite another bank failure, Americans should take a deep breath and not worry about their money.
I think the system basically is sound. I truly do. And I understand there's a lot of nervousness.
Bush says there's still no recession, and some economic indicators are still up.
I believe there's a lot of positive things for our economy.
Chief White House correspondent Bret Baier examines those warning signs and who disputed them.
The Bush administration raised red flags starting in April 2001.
You know, what bothers me is not the nasty language. So, and Glenn Beck doesn't, is not. What bothers me is the fact that people are not getting informed. That we are going through major debates on crucial policy issues. The public is not learning about them, and you can say, well, they can read the New York Times, which will tell them what they need to know, but most people don't. They don't read it thoroughly. They get on this healthcare thing. I am a little obsessed with it because it's a key issue for me. People did not know what was in the plan, and some of that was just poor reporting. Some of it was deliberate misinformation.
It's the first time in history in our country where just to be a citizen, just to not go to jail.
I have here in front of me when President Obama said, he asked rhetorically, why aren't we going to do a health care plan like the Europeans have with a government-run program, and then proceeded to explain why it's different. On Fox News, what appeared was a clipped quote, why don't we have a European-style health care plan? Right? Deliberate misinformation. All of that has contributed to a situation where the public did. I can show you the clip on YouTube if you want to see it.
People are not stupid. If you say how many words are in the Constitution? The founding fathers managed. They didn't need 2,000 pages of lawyers to hide things.
Oh, come on,
then tell people it's an emergency that we get it, but it won't go into effect for 3 years. So you don't have time to read it.
There was deliberate misinformation. People, again, this was a plan that is, it's a Republican plan. It's Mitt Romney's health care plan. People were led to believe that it was socialism. And that was deliberate. That wasn't just poor reporting. That was deliberate.
We did not have a terrorist attack on our country during President Bush's term.
So people who say that we never knew, well, how did this sneak up on us? It really didn't sneak up on everybody.
I think the system basically is sound. I truly do.
Remember back in the day when the Enron scandal hit the fan, and it was a huge story. It led every newscast because
we did not have a terrorist attack on our country during President Bush's term.